Call of Duty have just released their blog post detailing everything you need to know about Modern Warfare Zombies, which is Modern Warfare 3's open world Warzone map zombie mode, and it looks so much like DMZ. Like, I'm kind of shocked at some of the stuff they've released, just how close the menus and the systems and stuff are to DMZ, which I think is going to be really good news for fans of DMZ, people who are sad that DMZ is kind of ending. I think this is going to be awesome for you. In this video, I'll take you through all of the information that's just been released and give you my thoughts and impressions on some of the things that they've just revealed. This is a blog post, they've just posted it, and there is an absolute ton of information in it. So we're going to go through every single piece of it because I genuinely think all of it's kind of interesting. And a lot of it's good, a lot of it's got me a lot more excited than maybe I was before. So there's a bit of an overview there saying that Operation Deadbolt, you explore an open world, search for valuable acquisitions and schematics, and those two words are going to come up a lot throughout this. A world of opportunity, complete contracts to earn essence, collect acquisitions, and clear missions to discover what's really happening in the exclusion zone, and then secure and extract. You also need to learn when the situation on the ground becomes advantageous as well as untenable. Immerse yourself and work with other players to complete the more difficult mission objectives and extract before you're overwhelmed. So all of that's kind of stuff that we already knew. Now, there's an interesting section here called MWZ The Zombies Lobby. Now, basically, this is the menu system. You know how with DMZ they started talking about you having your forward operations base, and that was just a fancy name for the menu system. That's what this is. It's the Zombies Lobby. But for some reason, in the blog post, they've decided to detail it. They've said, the main menu shows you can have lobby, gear, strike team, customized battle pass store to prepare you for your next mission. And then there's match and progress information along the bottom that allows you to launch into your next match. I mean, that's just what the menus look like in the sort of Call of Duty HQ thing now that we have that ties everything together. But the next screen really started surprising me. So, strike team operators. These look familiar, don't they? This looks a lot like the active duty operator slots or whatever they were called in DMZ, where you choose your characters. That's what you've got here. So it looks like you're going to start with 3 strike team operators. You can use any operators you've got from Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3, and there's going to be a couple that you can earn within Modern Warfare Zombies. But yeah, it's exactly the same sort of thing. You can choose where they are. You can see what backpack they've got, what armor they've got on, what gas mask they've got on, what kill streak they've got, whether they've got a self-revive or not. This looks just like DMZ, but with, a zombie splash of blood across it, which, isn't a bad thing. It's just a lot more like DMZ than I maybe expected. It does mention there that the 2 operators, Ripper and Scorch, are the ones that you're going to be able to unlock within Zombies. And it also shows the different items you get. Then you get the rucksacks, which is just their name for backpacks. Fair enough. And in the rucksacks, it looks like you get different sizes of rucksacks. So you'll probably start with a small one, and it looks like they've got a large one there. And again, this looks just like DMZ. Oh yeah, it does actually say large rucksack on there. There you go. But this is just like DMZ, you're choosing what goes in each of these slots before you go out. There's a couple of very small changes. So, field upgrades are special for zombies. Like they've got rid of, you don't take a munitions box or anything like that in, which will actually be important, I think. I was watching Noah J streaming some zombies last night, and he was saying that when he got to play this, that one of the biggest problems they had was that the enemies towards the end were massive bullet sponges. Like a normal zombie would take a whole magazine of a 2-level pack-a-punched assault rifle to take down. And that meant that they would kill like 4 zombies and then be out of ammo. So that sounds like not having a munitions box could actually be quite a big deal in this. But maybe they'll rebalance it before the game comes out, who knows. But anyway, you've got your backpack slots. And you can see there that they've got in green as an AFA tool. So that's a thing that you use to upgrade a weapon to a more of a higher rarity. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So in orange, there's an ether crystal, and that's something that we'll talk about later, but basically it lets you automatically pack-a-punch one of your weapons, which is kind of interesting. And then they've got 4 perk cans ready to go in their backpack. So as soon as they get into this game, they're just going to be able to chug all of those cans, and then they'll have 4 perks added to them. We'll talk about each of these individual things a little bit later, but that is kind of interesting looking at that and just seeing like how much power you're going to be able to take into a round of this. We played a little bit of Outbreak yesterday, me and Cobb. And one of the things that I had kind of forgotten about Black Ops Cold War was that because you could just take your own weapon in, it made you feel kind of overpowered from the beginning. You go in and you take a shotgun into Black Ops Cold War Zombies, and you're kind of sorted for quite a long time. Like, that gun will do you basically up until the end of any of the maps. This seems like it's going a little bit further. You're not just going to be taking guns in, you're also going to be taking a bunch of perks in, you know, upgrade tools. You'll have your breacher drone, like you can see there's a tactical there, and your field upgrade, of course, as well as a self-revive and armor and stuff. You're taking a lot of stuff into a zombies game. Personally, I would kind of like it if you went in with a pistol, but then this does mean that maybe you could skip the whole setup phase sometimes, which does get a bit tedious in zombies doing it over and over again. You know, you'll be able to get straight into the action. So that could be a really good thing. Anyway, let's get back to the blog. It says, fill your rucksack with essential acquisitions that you find on the battlefield or craft via valuable schematics. And the schematics are really interesting in this. Initially, there are up to 5 open slots on a small rucksack. After your first mission, providing you found either acquisitions or schematics, you can add such items to the rucksack. So basically, you go in, you get stuff. If you extract with it, then you'll be able to find stuff that you can put in your rucksack for the next mission if you want. So let's look at loadouts. So with the loadouts, it looks just like DMZ, again, with like, you know, sort of fire blood splatter decal around it. And so you've got 3 insured slots where you'll be able to put whatever guns you want into there. They'll go in, I think, at the base rarity, so they'll be like green rarity, and they won't be pack-a-punched or anything like that. And I'm guessing once you've used a weapon in your insured slot, it will have a cooldown timer just like it did in DMZ. I'm also willing to bet, just like DMZ, they'll sell bundles where things have perks for this. It'll be interesting to see whether they make it so any of the ones that had DMZ perks will get those kind of perks in this, you know, like the 15-minute cooldown timers. But I'm willing to bet very quickly we'll see bundles with things like this gun already starts pack-a-punched, or this gun starts at, you know, purple rarity or something like that. I'm fairly sure that'll happen before long, and we'll definitely get the thing, you know, where the insured timer is super short. And you can see there you also have contraband, so if you go into the game, you get a gun, and then you take it out again, it will go into your contraband stash, and then you'll be able to use that for weapons if you don't have an insured weapon available, or if you just want to use it. Now, I'm not too excited about this whole system. I didn't like the insured weapons in DMZ. I think it made the game way too easy, and it meant that you didn't really care about items. It didn't really mean, you know, you didn't care about guns or losing guns. It was like, oh, it'll only be a few minutes and I'll be able to get it back again as an insured weapon. So the contraband never felt that important. You know, if you get a contraband gun as a reward in DMZ, you didn't ever really care about it because, you know, you just wanted to use your insured weapons anyway. It seems like that'll probably be the case in this, that you'll get contraband weapons as mission rewards and stuff like that, and it won't matter because you'll be using insured slots. Maybe they would have rebalanced it a little bit, like maybe they would have increased the insured timers a huge amount or something. Or one thing that could be really interesting is maybe if you extract with a pack-a-punched gun, will that keep the pack-a-punch like into the next game? That would be super interesting. Or the rarity or something like that. I have to say, looking at it here, it doesn't look like any of them have rarity or whether they're pack-a-punched or not on them. So I'm guessing that that doesn't keep. I'm guessing you have to redo that every game. But that would maybe make something so you'd be more precious over the gun that you've got. I'm not sure. But then again, with this, you're not fighting other players. So the idea of you dying in there seems like that's way less likely than it is in something like DMZ. Anyway, it says there, you know, primary and secondary weapons, all the guns are available to use from Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Insured weapons, these are weapons you've leveled up, added attachments to and stuff. If you fail to exfil with one, it only becomes available after a cooldown period. You have 3 insured slots, and 2 of them are unlocked after you complete zombies missions. So, you know, just like DMZ, you have to do some missions before you get those other 2 slots. Then there's also contraband stashes, and you can have up to 20 of those. It doesn't say anything about being able to increase your contraband stash. You know, DMZ added all of those upgrade challenges over time, those upgrade missions. It doesn't talk about that at all. Maybe that's something that will come in the future. I'm willing to bet it will. And tactical and lethal equipment, it says, you know, there's things that you can get. So stun grenade, smoke grenade, scatter mine, decoy grenade, shock stick, stim, or experimental gas grenade. The only difference between the gas grenade and this, the experimental gas grenade, and the normal gas grenade you get in multiplayer, is that this one does a little bit of damage, whereas the other one doesn't. And in lethals, you get frag grenades, claymores, throwing knives, thermites, proximity mines, drill charges, sticky grenades, C4, molotovs, and breacher drones. So nothing very interesting there. And that is actually something that I could say about most of this blog post, is that while I'm kind of excited about the idea that we're getting DMZ with zombies over it, there doesn't seem to be anything new really for zombies. Like pretty much everything we see has been in it before. So case in point, the zombies field upgrades, these replace things like, you know, having a munitions box or anything like that. Instead, you have these things that we've seen before in Black Ops Cold War, and we saw them in Vanguard Zombies as well. So you have Energy Mine, which is that top left one, and it spawns an explosive, just like a big proximity mine thing, basically. Frenzied Guard, which forces the enemies to attack you and gives you your armor. I'm not sure if that one was in Black Ops Cold War, was it? It was definitely in Vanguard. Healing Aura, which heals you and heals people around you. Frost Blast, that freezes everyone around you. Ether Shroud, that lets you go invisible for a moment. Super useful to help you pick up people who have gone down. And Tesla Storm, that makes lightning go like between you and your teammates, which will end up killing loads of zombies really, really quickly. Now, another interesting thing about this is there's nothing about upgrades for any of those field upgrades. So in Black Ops Cold War, you could get crystals out and you could use them to... you still got crystals as a reward for doing stuff in Black Ops Cold War Zombies. You could use them to upgrade all of these and make it so, Energy Mine had 3 mines instead of 1, or Frost Blast would also completely freeze elite enemies, or it would do extra damage if you shot them in the head, stuff like that. Healing Aura would automatically resurrect everyone on your team if they were down. It doesn't mention that. Again, I would kind of expect to see that coming in the future. And it's kind of a shame that we're not seeing any new ones. Like, it's kind of a shame we're not getting a bunch of extra ones. And we're missing Ring of Fire, which is one of the ones that I think a lot of people have as their favorite, which used to make it so you didn't need to reload your guns and you did extra damage. That was super cool. But, oh well. I'm assuming a lot of this stuff will come. Season 1, maybe we'll get Ring of Fire or something like that. It's just a shame that we've kind of had very similar things for both Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard, and now this, without any new ones in this. Then, acquisitions and schematics. So this is kind of interesting. So, acquisitions are basically items. Like, things you pick up are called acquisitions in this. Schematics, on the other hand, are kind of interesting. So it says that acquisitions, single-use items that you can use, like perks and stuff. And then schematics are highly sought-after plans that permanently allow you to craft acquisitions that you can add to your rucksack. So this is a bit different. This is a little bit different from DMZ. It's something that I don't think we saw at all in that before, is the idea that if you manage to get a schematic, then every now and then there'll be like a cooldown period, but every now and then you'll be able to bring that item into the game. And that could be pretty huge. That could be super interesting. And it says there, you can see on the menu there, acquisition stash on the bottom left, or schematic crafting on the bottom right. It doesn't say anything in this about it being like a currency or anything like that. You need to craft the schematics. So I'm guessing it's much more just a cooldown, like insured weapons. You can just use one whenever you want, and then after you've used it, you've got to wait a couple of hours or something like that until you can use it again. So these are the acquisitions. These are the things that you'll be able to put into your backpack, bring them into the game, extract with them if you want to, but then when you bring them in, you'll be able to use them right at the beginning. So you have Ethereum crystals. Now, these aren't like the crystals that we've seen before in Zombies, where you could crunch them and get some essence. Instead, you're going to be able to use them to pack-a-punch your weapon. So if you go in at the beginning of the game and you've got an Ethereum legendary crystal in your backpack, you can just immediately use that on that gun and it will pack-a-punch the gun. And for people who haven't played Zombies before, people who are coming from DMZ, pack-a-punching basically turns your gun into a different version of itself that's much, much more powerful. So it's like, the first time you pack-a-punch a gun, it will like double the power, and maybe it will like triple the magazine, or it will add some kind of crazy effect, like, pistols will suddenly start firing mini grenades or something like that. So it normally changes the gun quite dramatically. Then you also have ether tools, and these will increase the rarity of the gun. Now, this isn't like Warzone, where increased rarity adds more attachments. That's how it worked in DMZ too. Instead, it basically also adds damage. So, your gun will start off maybe grey, and then when you've upgraded it once using an uncommon ether tool, that will turn it up into green. And it goes all the way, it goes green, blue, purple, then orange, I think. So if you go into a game of Modern Warfare Zombies and you've got an Ethereum legendary crystal, you've got a legendary ether tool as well, you'll immediately be able to turn that gun into an orange version of the highest pack-a-punch version of it that will do an insane amount more damage. Probably like, on the order of like 8 times more damage than what the base version of that gun would do. That's going to be a pretty big change for Zombies, because normally in Zombies, that's like a big thing that you do as you're working up through the levels, is you're upgrading your guns. And with this, if you've got these, you'll be able to do them straight away. It'll be super interesting to see if there's schematics to make these, because that will seem incredibly overpowered. And kind of just do the same problem that I said about before with insured weapons, that, you'll be able to go in and you'll have the best things already. So what's the point of having to go look for them? Anyway, there's also perk-colas, and here we see the perks in the game. And again, I'm a little bit sad not to see new perks, and not to see perks that like we haven't seen for a while. These are all ones that are in Black Ops Cold War. So just to run through them, again, for people who maybe haven't played Zombies before, you've got Deadshot Daiquiri that basically makes your auto-aim, auto-lock onto enemies' heads. And I think it also reduces weapon sway or something like that. Yeah, reduces scope sway. You have Depth Perception, and that does something where basically you can see enemies through walls. It also, in Black Ops Cold War and Outbreak, helps you to see items through walls. So that makes like contracts where you have to find something much, much easier. There's Elemental Pop, where you can get elemental effects for your weapons that we'll talk about in a bit. And this basically means every time you shoot, there's a chance to trigger a random effect. So it'll be one of the elemental effects in addition to whatever else you've got on. There's Juggernog that gives you extra health, basically, makes you a bit tougher. PhD Flopper that normally makes it so explosives can't hurt you, but it also means that when you slide or jump onto the ground, it will cause some sort of explosion. In this one, it says diving to prone triggers an explosion. The explosion increases the higher you fall. There's immunity from fall damage, and there's immunity from area of effect damage from weapons you're using. So, you have PhD Flopper and you've got something like a Pack-a-Punch grenade launcher that fires grenades really quickly. You won't take damage if you use it in close quarters, which is obviously really good. You have Quick Revive, and Quick Revive normally behaves a little bit differently if you're by yourself or with others. In this one, it said it reduces the health regeneration delay by 50%, and it reduces the time it takes to revive an ally by 50% as well. That's super useful if you've got an ally who goes down a lot. Speed Cola lets you reload things much, much faster and swap weapons quickly. Stamina Up lets you run really fast, so basically means your tactical sprint lasts longer and lets you move a bit faster. And Tombstone has an interesting kind of effect. It changes a bit in different games, but in this one, it creates a Tombstone stash where you die, which will contain your backpack inventory in the next game. Now, this is really interesting. So previously, in previous games, Tombstone worked by when you used it, in Black Ops Cold War, you could actually get an upgrade that let you sort of turn into a ghost, and if you could kill a zombie as a ghost or you could resurrect yourself, then you would end up coming back to life. Or if you died and then in zombies, normally in round-based zombies, you respawn the next round, you would be able to go back and get all of your stuff. Whereas normally, when you die, you lose everything. In this, it's saying that your stuff will be there for the next game. So say you've got important mission objective, like items that you're going to need to extract in your backpack, and you've also taken Tombstone. If you die, rather than having to do the whole mission again for the next time you go in, you'll be able to just go straight to where you died and pick up all of that stuff immediately, then extract, getting out safely. So I think Tombstone's suddenly going to be incredibly useful in a way that, I always thought it was a little bit stupid. I never liked Tombstone. But it seems like that will make it super useful. You also have the ammo mods. These are the elemental things I talked about. Again, nothing new. These are all things we've had before. Brain Rot turns a zombie so it works on your side for a little bit. Cryo Freeze freezes stuff. Dead Wire electrocutes stuff like chains between them. Napalm sets them on fire. Shatterblast makes explosions around them. Nothing too amazing there. And then the Wonder Weapons. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some Zombies fanatics who will be able to identify all of these immediately. I mean, to me, you can see obviously the ray guns on the left. It looks like two separate pictures of the ray gun on the left. And then that looks like there may be the DIE machine in the middle, but I don't know. It could be something completely different. And then on the right, that could be the Ray K. I don't know. I'm sure someone will be able to say exactly what all of these are. Or is it the Wonder Waffer, the electric gun, maybe the one on the right? Anyway, these are Wonder Weapons. There's going to be Wonder Weapons in there. And it's kind of interesting that in this paragraph, it says that if you can find the schematics, which will be a difficult thing to do, so that'll be something good that I'll be able to try and do on launch day on Thursday, and, maybe make some guides and stuff like that. If you make the schematics, you'll be able to craft Wonder Weapons. Now, like I said, it didn't look like there was any kind of currency in the schematic system. So are you just going to be able to go in with a Wonder Weapon whenever you want? That's going to be kind of strange. There are also other ways to get Wonder Weapons in the game, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So we've still got a little bit more to go. So the missions, obviously this is probably the most interesting thing. The thing that we didn't know much about going into this is what those missions would be like. Even the Zombies creators that got to play this game early didn't get to do missions. They didn't get to choose missions or anything like that. So we haven't seen these at all. So it says there's a variety of tiered missions in 3 acts at launch. And this is just at the very beginning. When you go in, you only select one mission. You select the mission you want to complete, and it might have one task or it might have multiple tasks. Like in DMZ, one mission might say, kill 3 enemies with headshots with this gun, and kill 3 enemies from over 100 meters with this gun, and ping a UAV tower or something. Those would be separate tasks. Mission completion rewards can include acquisitions, cosmetic items, durable items, and double XP tokens, just like DMZ, really. And it says If you complete tasks within a mission, you receive unlocked missions and rewards. If you complete missions within a tier, you receive unlocked missions and rewards. Seems a bit weird saying that if you complete a single task, you also unlock missions, but oh well. If you complete all tiers within an act, then you finish the act and you receive more unlocked missions. And if you complete all the act, you receive a redacted. So we're not sure what that is. You're going to get some special reward for doing it. I'd assume like an operator skin or something. And it says you continue to uncover the mysteries plaguing the exclusion zone prior to the storyline continuation at season 1. So as far as I know, I thought the way they talked about it before is at the end of each act, there will be a story mission, and at the end of each story mission, when you complete it, you'll get a little cutscene. Now that sounded super exciting. I'm not sure if they're still sticking to that. I'm not sure if that's still true. They don't seem to mention it here at all. But that would be awesome. Maybe it will just be you complete all 3 acts and then you get a cutscene at the end of it. That would be a bit of a shame if there's just one cinematic thing at the end of this. But it does say, and this is important, prior to the storyline continuation at season 1. I didn't know whether we'd be waiting maybe until season 2 for the next bit of Modern Warfare Zombies. That was something I was really worried about. But it sounds like we've got this all as like 3 acts as the preseason stuff. And then in a month, in December, when season 1 starts, we're going to get more. We're going to get more acts, more missions and stuff like that. So that's really good. It's really good to know there will be more content coming. There will be more missions coming. Even if we have to wait a month for them, that's still, that's not too bad. If they can do it with maybe new missions every season and every season reloaded patch, so, once a month basically, I think that would be pretty good. I think that would be a pretty good rate to get new missions. Then it talks about mission parameters. You can see there's a hell dog there. There's a fire dog. You have freedom and flexibility to explore the exclusion zone throughout Urzikstan, and infilling allows you to complete a wide variety of activities as well as the specific missions, so you don't just have the missions to do. So you can explore, and there's low, medium, and high threat zones. We already knew about all of this stuff. If you want, you can stay in the relative safety of a low threat zone as you learn how to deal with the variety of enemy threats, and you can level up weapons and stuff there. You can do contracts, which let you earn essence, which you can then spend on, perks and buying pack-a-punch stuff and things like that. And you can get acquisitions by completing those contracts. So, maybe you'll find one of those ether crystals to pack-a-punch your gun or something like that. You can upgrade stuff by spending essence at the machines across the map to upgrade everything. And I'm guessing there'll be machines or buy stations and stuff like that to let you get better armor and backpacks as well as increasing your guns and getting perks. And you can extract acquisitions. So if you just go in, you find a load of good stuff, but then you've maybe spent a bit too much time, you could just extract with that, and then next mission, you go in to really try and get those missions done with all of those extra acquisitions you've got. So it says, within a deployment, your TAC map displays a variety of interesting game features. Nice of them to pat themselves on the back there. And some of the most important ones are detailed below. So there's buy stations, which we expect. You can buy kill streaks and gas masks and stuff. There's perk machines like Juggernog. I've seen that in real life. It was amazing. Anyway, yep, you can buy perks just like you would normally if you haven't bought them in yourself. You still buy them from perk machines. You have the Pack-a-Punch machine that looks like it has done for the last few games. Well, actually, Vanguard, they all looked a bit weird, didn't they? But it looks like it did in Black Ops Cold War. And it definitely lets you do the same thing. You're just pack-a-punching your gun. I don't think there's anything more to pack-a-punching than just getting each level of pack-a-punch. It's not like in Black Ops Cold War. That's also where you would make those ammo mods and things like that. Then you also get wall buys still, and you can see the different color rarities on the wall. There's a mystery box, that's still a thing, and you get varying rarity and occasionally a wonder weapon. I wonder how this will work. Maybe it'll be like it was in sort of Outbreak, where the later you waited, the more rare the weapons were. So in this, will that work in Modern Warfare Zombies? You wait until the last 10 minutes of the game. Maybe the mystery box will be able to give you something really good. And in this, you'll actually be able to take that out of the game with you. Whereas in normal Zombies, once you leave that round, that game, it's gone. And then it says, wonder weapons redacted. So I think you'll be able to actually find the wonder weapons around the map as well. Maybe there'll be like little sort of side Easter eggs to try and get the wonder weapons. So if you know where to go, you can always go grab a ray gun, something like that. Would be pretty cool. Anyway, that is everything. So that is Modern Warfare Zombies, as far as we know it so far. I have to say, this blog post has made me a little bit more interested. It's a lot more like DMZ than I thought. It's good that we're going to be getting new missions in Season 1, so we're not going to have to wait too long for new missions. And while I think a lot of the systems look like they're going to make the game a little bit too easy, maybe, obviously I haven't played it. Maybe you're going to need all of that stuff, and there's going to be a real challenge from the zombies and everything. It's going to be super hard. I'm excited to see it. I'll be streaming it as soon as we're allowed on Thursday. There seems to be a bit of confusion at the moment as to whether that's 11 a.m. on Thursday or whether it's 2 p.m. Whenever we're allowed to start streaming it, I'll be streaming it. That's all I'm going to be playing on Thursday. I think that's the thing I'm going to be focusing on. I can't wait to get started. I'm still a little bit apprehensive. I'm still a bit worried after Vanguard Zombies was so bad, and I didn't really like the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. But after playing Outbreak a little bit yesterday, yeah, I'm a lot more excited about this than I was. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below, and I'll see you on Thursday. Goodbye.